Well, hey guys, we are back here on Black Snake Road we've been on several times. Haven't been in a little while though, but it was a nice day and I just wanted to come back and ride the road again and kind of do a year in review. It's really been somewhere around a year and a month since I started this whole motovlog thing, and about a year since I had this bike. I know I did my first couple sort of vlogs just with footage that was pre-recorded on my other bike, but the whole road's a little wet in the shadowy places, so I have to be careful, I guess. But it has been about a year of ownership into my R6 and about a year into the motovlog deal for you, and it's been a bit eventful. Last year at this time I was down in Florida for the Daytona 500, my first and only Daytona 500. But I had been to Daytona every year since I moved out here, just never had done the 500. This is the first year that I'm not in Daytona in any capacity. And the 500 is later today. And by the time I upload this today, it'll probably be actually running. And but that's beside the point. It was an eventful year for me. And it's all wet right here. And I'm going to chicken out, but so started the year on the Cup Series team and had decided I didn't want to be on the road anymore and wanted to make my way out of racing, as I've talked about before. So I went from that team back to the same team for the K&N series that I had been on, and had a bit of a tough year there, but ended up with a win before the season was over. And it was at a track that two previous attempts there we really should have won and had issues. This time we did not have the best car, but ended up taking advantage of some other people's issues and getting the win really on the last lap. Then the off season came, and truth be told, I was laid off like always. And I'm sure that I've told you that by now I found another job outside of racing, and so here we are. Nothing too exciting other than that in the personal life year over the past year. But I wanted to also kind of give a year in review of my first year of ownership from my R6. And I've tried to keep you guys up to date on the things I've done to it and the accessories I've put on it, which really haven't been too many. And even months ago had talked about things I didn't like on the bike and thoughts of getting a different bike. And in full disclosure, I'm still thinking about getting another bike and getting rid of my R6. Just more or less because, as I've talked about before, the way that I ride it, it just turns out is not the right bike for me. I still love riding it, and I really can't discourage anybody from ever buying one. It's been a great bike. Will I get a second here? 3,400 miles, so almost 3,500 miles on this. And I said I've enjoyed them all except for that one moment when I dropped it and laid it down. I like that I was able to find a slip-on exhaust tip, the muffler part. That was actually allowed me to keep my catalytic converter on it. For I think it was $110, I got a lot better sounding motorcycle without spending, you know, several hundred on the full exhaust system. I like my tank bag that I've gotten. I got, you know, my stuff in it today, where normally I'd be using my backpack. I don't have my backpack today. Things I'm not in a habit of because I use the engine braking a lot. I'm in a bad habit of using the rear brake too much. My old dirt bike days. And although any dirt bike rider will still say they use the front brake a lot to slow down, but by the time they get to the corner, they're off the front, and they might still be using the back to kind of drag that tire or swing the back end around. And well, you can't do that with these things. That's not good. But I do like that even when I'm going slow, it bogs the engine down, but I can be in 6th gear and just kind of ride and have it, you know, pretty quiet ride, easy ride. But in getting back to, you know, living with this bike, I have had zero trouble, absolutely zero trouble with anything. It is a very good motorcycle. I just think I'm going to end up getting rid of it because of how I ride in my, I won't say livability. I do want something I'm going to probably put bags on. So I can carry some stuff. If I'm not mistaken, I think you can get bags for this, but you you know, it would completely take this bike out of character, and nobody wants that. You know, a lot of bikers are doing 5 or 10 things that they hate about their bike or that they love about their bike. And I don't even have that big of a list. If I had to say what I don't like about this bike or what I hate about this bike, is kind of my own fault for buying one and living with it, is the rider position during cornering. Said it before, I say it again. I'm not a guy who wanted, necessarily even wanted to go to a track and race it and put a knee down. And in my short time of riding the sport bike, when I said, yeah, I want to get a sport bike now, I was just mistaken, because I didn't ride on winding roads, and this overall seating position, like where I'm at now on this straight road, is fine. But I don't like the position that you have to get into to corner this bike and feel confident about making it through the corner at a rate of speed that is fun. And I still don't mean race speed, but I've never gotten comfortable with that. With the dirt bikes, and let me turn around because I wanted to go that way right there. With dirt bikes, you can put your foot out, and I'm more comfortable putting my foot out than I am my knee out or my elbow down. And like I said, for me to be so far towards the front, so leaned over and then leaned off the bike, I'm just not comfortable with it, and I don't like that. I want a bike that I can lean over, just the feeling I get, not necessarily put my foot out like a dirt bike, because my Shadow 750, I mean, you're not going to put a foot out on the cruiser. And even the other bikes I talked about, the FZ07 or the 09 or the GSXS, you're not really going to put a foot out, you're still going to put a knee out, but you're not so far leaned over the front that you have to get down low and really bend your arms and get in that position. I don't know what I'm going to get yet, but what I don't want is to have to be like this when I'm riding through, and to have fun. For those of you that do, excellent. I would encourage buying an R6. It's a great bike. It is aggressive. The seat height being taller than the Honda or the Suzuki, I believe puts a little more strain on your wrist riding like this. But when you go from one side of the bike to the other and shift all your weight over, I actually think being up higher and your body weight and legs grabbing the top of the bike and pulling it over, I think actually will help on the tracks. But that's what I have to say, and without rambling on too much stuff, I'll try to end this vlog anyway. And I guess, I've said it a few times, and I'm gonna move on. with this being my second year, going into my second year, I'm gonna come up with some different stuff, and I'm not gonna talk about all the same things, but I did want to do a review and just kind of let everybody know that I really like the R6, and I would recommend an R6 to anybody that wants to buy a sport bike. I would even recommend it over a leader bike or 1000, because it's lighter, it handles better. I mean, sure, you don't have 180 horsepower, but let's be honest, on a back road like this, what do you need that much horsepower for? The new leader bikes with all the electronics, if you look at the dash while you're riding, the electronics are kicking in and they're saving you. They're there for a reason. They're there for, you know, convenience, and they give you all the confidence in the world. But if you're not racing someone and you don't need that 180 horsepower to get down a straightaway, you don't need it on a back road. And I would recommend an R6. Having ridden Suzuki's, in my opinion, are very comfortable, and I will recommend a Suzuki as well. But if you want to tear up a windy back road, I would get the R6. I really would. If you're not sure, if you're like me and you think you want a sport bike, but you really haven't ridden one on the back roads like this, I would try to get a friend who has one to let you ride it first, and take it on the roads that you think you want to ride it on, because that's where I made my mistake. And if you don't have a friend that has one, it may take you a couple bikes to get what you want, but maybe take some steps in between. Because I don't want anybody or any of you to get out there and be too far over your head and get hurt. And if you're like me and you most of the time commute, but you like riding these back roads, but you're not really flying through them, I would get a smaller cruiser, something more maneuverable than a big heavy bike, but or maybe the FC07 or the 09, and just have fun and sit straight up and have fun. But I look forward, I might take a week or two off here, and like I said, try to let the weather get a little better. It's nice today, but it's gonna rain this week, they say, and it's still a little bit cold being February. So I might take a week or two off from putting a video up, as I try to get things in order of just, what I'm going to do for my second year of motovlogging, and what I want to do for my channel to keep things fresh and then change it up so I don't bring up all this stuff about my bike again. But that's that. Enjoy, ride safe if it's summertime where you're at. If it's wintertime, I hope you at least have days like today where you get to ride like me. And like I said, be safe, enjoy. I'll see you guys on the next ride.